It's a struggle. I could tell you guys are struggling, trying to break free. Move forward from a loss. It's hard to do. That comfort zone can be very cozy, but right now your focus and the underlying energy has a lot to do with making decisions about where you're going next, where you're going to take your next, your next steps. What's the next journey? And I really feel like it can be very exciting, but it's also very exciting in like an anxiety way, if anxiety way, kind of like, like you're like, okay, this is great, this is exciting, this is new, but that's this very thing that's kind of freaking you out. But you're still going to do it. You're still eager to get through it. The situation is saying that you have the Four of Pentacles, but what's crossing you is the Five of Cups. So that already tells me that there is some old stuff, some pain, some loss, some missed opportunities that's really making you feel like it's really making it harder for you to break free from your comfort zone. Because the challenge right now is getting out of that place of kind of like, okay, well, I've been there, done that. It's kind of, you're trying to find and, take a new step, break free from this, this kind of gilded, not really gilded cage, because that's more of the Knight of Pentacles, more of this space in which you feel safe. Like, this isn't really safe. This isn't really getting you anywhere. It's not growing anything. And I feel like you're ready to kind of blossom and grow and to do more. But the thing is, it's like, it's this past issue. This is just this sadness from what had happened before, right? This loss, missed opportunities. The Two of Cups is still there, and I think, I feel like, you will be more and more aware of that the more you actually shift. But the only time you actually get out of this comfort zone is by actually taking action, because that's what the Two of Wands talks about. Yeah, it's all about making decisions and, figuring out where you're going to do. But that's the thing. You don't just, when you figure it out, you do it. It's not like, okay, let's think about this and make a plan. You do the action. You take the action. That's how you make the decision, by actually doing what you decide. And I feel like you guys are still in a place where you're not moving. You're stuck. And that stuckness is, it's only going to get worse if you just don't take that step, if you don't move your feet. You got to just move your body. It doesn't matter if your mind's with you or not, or your emotions are with you. You just got to move. Now, in the past, you had the World, so there was a completion of a cycle here. Now, considering that you have the Five of Cups, I feel like this is one of those cards that would signify that there is a gift in disguise. Usually, when this kind of card happens with the Five of Cups, I think, yeah, there was something that was lost here, that you missed an opportunity. But the thing is one of the sayings is that rejection is God's protection, right? And I don't know if you've been rejected. I don't know if you've lost something dear, but there was something significant about this loss that you can have, that you could take with you to the next cycle over. Now, it may not seem very valuable now, since you guys are feeling that, the sadness and you're mourning that loss, but I feel like this is something that you could take with you to the next. There's something personal, something valuable that you could take with you to the next cycle when you go through this, when you're taking your steps, you're doing something differently. I do feel like you guys, you may not feel the wonderful, successful completion bit, but, some of you guys, you may have. Maybe this is something that you're happy about. You're really relieved about the situation, and you feel good about where you are, that transition. But I kind of get this feeling that it's some of you guys, it's nice. Some of you guys, it hurts, but there's something you could, something of great value that you could take with you. And that lesson is going to carry over to your present, which is where you're now reevaluating yourself, your love, your mindset, your perspectives on things. Okay, and I say love, and it's because of the Ten of Cups, but that doesn't, usually the Four of Swords doesn't talk about love. Excuse me, and I talk about love too because of the Two of Cups. Now, Two of Cups in that card by itself doesn't necessarily mean love either. It just means the connection of two people that feel the same way, that have similar things that they feel about within their cup, right? It's not love per se. But the Four of Swords to me is like there is a definite time of stagnancy. There's no movement, and that's the point. Like there needs to be movement. And as hard as it is to kind of get out of your head for a second, it's going to be better than sitting there thinking about what you want to do and what you need to do, if that makes sense. It's really hard to do, trust me. Especially since we have a lot of emphasis on our minds, Geminis. But the thing is that the stagnancy is good for reevaluating, good for thinking things through, and it looks like you guys are really, rethinking your happily ever after, what that looks like, who's going to be a part of that, what that happiness looks like. And I feel like that is what you guys may be doing, reevaluating and all that. But that Five of Cups is also is also involved in the whole reevaluation factor, or even the pause period, because you're still, mourning the loss of the cycle that was just completed. That's what that tells me. You just lost something. You missed an opportunity. Something precious and dear to you was taken away, right? But it's in the past, and the thing is that hopefully this isn't guilt, this isn't shame on you guys, because this is, because you can't help what goes, right? Sometimes it goes, sometimes, things just happen, and, and the thing is, it's not about blame, it's about what to do now, what is your new future, just because you don't have those cups here anymore doesn't mean that there isn't a future for you to continue to build. There's two cups there, it's something that, that's there for you to continue to move forward with. And I feel like that stagnancy has a lot to do with you mourning the past, mourning what's been gone. And I feel like this is important. Yeah, it is important to honor your emotions, to really, let all those feelings out. But don't let this Four of Cups, the loss, keep you from going ahead and doing something, because and doing what you want to do, and and starting something new. Because I feel like, even though this is a time of healing and rest, it could definitely be one of those cards of procrastination for me, very easily. You can rest, you can end up laying there and be like, man, this is pretty damn comfortable. I don't know if I really want to go. And you gotta be careful too, because I don't really want you guys to get comfortable in misery, right? But you guys are welcome to do whatever you want to do, but this can kind of get to a place where you're comfortable in your own misery. Okay? Constantly reliving the past in your mind, recycling it, and it's like it can get comfortable. But I know this is not how you want to live. The Ten of Cups wouldn't come up. This is not a miserable card. The Ten of Cups. This card is great. Look at all those people. Look at the kids. Look at the rainbow. Happiness. That is, it's in a way these two are contradicting each other, because what you're sitting in is misery and sadness, and what you're striving for, what you dream of, what you want is a happily ever after. It is a happy ending, and you deserve that. But you got to be careful that when you're assessing your worth, because this is, the Four of Pentacles, Four of Swords to me, when they're together, it's just evaluating one's worth, and even the Four of Pentacles by itself would indicate that. But I feel like this is definitely saying that here, like reevaluating your worth based off of what you lost. I would highly recommend not doing that, because honestly, we're going to lose a lot of things in our lifetimes as human beings, and that shouldn't be the deciding factor of where our value comes from. Is what we can do with what we've got left. Is assessing how we can move forward, what we can grow those two cups into, because we're going to lose a lot of things as we go through our lives. But it's up to us to see what we can do with those things, be more solution based rather than accepting the losses and just making ourselves kind of feel like crap because of everything we don't have. You know what I mean? Because we can always have more than what we've lost, but it takes a certain mindset. And I feel like that's what you guys are doing. You're changing your mindset, you're shifting your mindset. You're trying to. It's hard, but you're trying to, because here in the future you have the Seven of Pentacles. You're trying to figure out whether, what to do. What is your next steps? How can you continue to build your, grow this plant? Create your happiness. You're trying to look for things to do to create what you want to create here. And that's great. Especially from going to, from reevaluating and reassessing your value all the way to trying to figure out what you need to do now. What is your next steps? What are you going to do about this? It's like there's no waiting anymore. There's no need to. So your goal and ambition, guys, is the Ace of Pentacles. I like that. And it does take time to grow something of great value and stability, and something that has a sturdy and solid foundation. And your goal is to start something new that does develop into something that stands the test of time, that's honestly very stable, something that, you know, means a lot to you, that's great in value to you. This could be a relationship, since we do have the Ace of Cups here in the future and in your outcome as well. But this doesn't have to be a relationship. This doesn't have to be anything regarding another person. This could strictly just mean that you're trying to figure out, you know, and create some sort of foundation for yourself to start to also, you know, heal yourself and love yourself more. I feel like right now this is a very self-love journey kind of situation. I don't know if this is regarding a relationship. It could very well be, right? But I really feel like this is building yourself up, building yourself from a place where you were feeling the lowest, right? Reestablishing and rebuilding a foundation, not that just, you know, something that helps you grow, not stagnates your growth. And it's something that heals you, something that, you know, fills your heart with love and you know, and gets you inspired and brings back that sense of creativity. And I feel like you start that by taking the steps, taking everything a step at a time, working at something and focusing on every aspect, you know, one aspect at a time, right? You know, because you know there's a lot to do, and you know you have come a long way with this card here, but the situation is that you got to start somewhere. So you got to just make the step and start doing it, because at this point, you know, at this point you could be, you know, you could have so many different avenues and so many different ways to go about doing something, but it's all about just deciding what to do and going for it. That's why the Two of Wands is your underlying energy. And your outcome, I mean, it pairs perfectly with your golden ambition, the Ace of Cups. Starting something new in love. Right? Beginning love, a new beginning in love, a new beginning for love, a new beginning for healing. You know, this is a very emotional and a spiritual growth kind of card here. It's very similar to the Hermit, but in the sense of, you know, starting to understand and to accept your emotions. And how do we start that? By actually looking at them and feeling them and letting them flow. And it's not, you know, I don't agree with stopping your feelings, you know. If this situation is blocked up because you haven't given the time to mourn the losses that you've had, take the time out to do that. The Four of Swords is right in your present right now to do that. Definitely take time to, you know, feel everything that you've lost, feel everything, you know. But again, don't let those feelings cripple you, right? Because that's the point. You don't want to let these feelings cripple you, but you are 100% allowed to feel, to cry, you know, to throw a chair. Be careful not to hurt anybody or yourself. But, you know, you're 100% allowed to feel those emotions, to feel that loss. But once you felt that loss, and once you truly let all of it out of you, right? And truly have nothing left to hold in, that's when you're ready to go. So let's go ahead and see what you guys got with your romance, angels. Ooh. So you guys got 2 cards. Wow. Okay. What to drop these cards again? Wow. Clumsy today. So you guys have true love, and it is safe for you to love. That is the 100% truth, y'all. Love ain't gonna bite you. But it can be scary, right? To kind of put yourself out there, because, you know, there's more than just love that you interact with. But you guys, what awesome cards to get here, really. This is the romance of a lifetime. Loving yourself is true love, you know. I think we underestimate what true love is. We always think that true love has to be with somebody external from us, when in actuality, true love is within here, right? Within our hearts. Something that we create within ourselves. And then you have it safe for you to love. Open your heart to give and receive the highest energy of all. And that's the Ace of Cups, man. Ace of Cups, Ten of Cups. Ace of Pentacles, the Two of Wands, all of these things talk about taking steps in the direction that really start, that really allow you to love, allow you to be open. The only way to do that is by taking that step. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and see what you guys got for the Whispers of Love. Ask for help. And this says, what is it you really need help with? Be willing to allow yourself the support you need. And that's true. And I can kind of see that with the Five of Cups, actually. Because the Five of Cups does indicate that there's two people, or two, there's something still left over. And that does mean that, there could, like, for instance, let's say this for a relationship's sake. There's something that may have been lost, your trust, or something, stability or support from your partner, but the connection that you have with this person is still there. That doesn't mean that you have to struggle by yourself. It doesn't mean you have to find your own way through and, and find your own happiness alone. You can even work on this relationship and work on building things and, and gain some sort of support from other people, right? Of course, remembering that you don't need the person to help you, but you are allowed to ask for help if need be. But the Two of Cups indicates that you still have the relationship there, even though something significant to you was lost. The relationship is still there, and I feel like with ask for help, I do feel like this is maybe extending yourself out. Talking to people, communicating with others, and asking for a helping hand. Sometimes it's okay to ask for help. And then you don't have to do everything alone. You know what I mean? The biggest thing is with the ask for help card is that you're never alone. Alright? Even if there is no one around you, your higher self, your intuition, they all have your back.